while we're waiting for all the people to join. And for anyone that is watching us live on Facebook, you can also type comments in there, and we think we have someone watching those comments as well.
Awesome.
So yeah, please everyone just take a minute.
Yeah, cool. Matt and I are going to banter back and forth while everybody joins the call. I'm Dr. Kristen Kranz, Kiki Kranz from the call team, and really excited to see people signing in the chat. Drop your name in the chat. We see Gary from Columbus and Sally from Oberlin and Mark from Detroit, Michigan.
All right, we also got a whole bunch of people joining from out in Elyria, someone from Philadelphia, from Connecticut. Great to have you all here, really. It's nice to see a big turnout, especially from across the country.
We've been super busy.
I'm excited for all you all to... Exactly.
Yeah, it's exciting to have people come from across the nation, and in part that's because of some of our speakers that we have here tonight. We're so excited that Nina is with us, and everybody knows that she's going to make a difference not only for Northeast Ohio, but for our entire nation. So we're really grateful for the people across the country that are joining us. So again, I'm Kiki, I'm here with Matt, and we're encouraging you to drop your name and your location in the chat, and so we can say hello and get to know everybody who's here.
Yes, absolutely, and thank you for everyone that is dropping their names in there. Man, I see we really got people coming from all over. We even have some international people here. We got someone from joining us from Ontario, Canada. We got someone from Chesterland. Looks like we got people, yeah, just coming from all over, and it is so much appreciated. We really love having a big turnout like this. So again, if you're just joining us now, just drop your name and where you're from in the chat, and we'll be getting started here in just another minute or two, so just bear with us for a moment.
That's awesome. And I see people from California and from Georgia joining in, and lots of Ohioans. And so grateful for everybody who is showing up here today to hear our great speakers and learn how you can get involved, which will include possibly joining in with our revolution. We are entirely funded by small donors, and we would love people to support our work by becoming a movement builder for only $5 a month. So there will be links dropped in the chat, and that's just a great way to help out just a little bit at a time to keep us going to do the work that we do. All right, continue to drop your name and where you're from in the chat. And here we've got a whole crew of speakers here with us today. So really grateful that everyone is here. And let me just see if there's anything else we need to do before we get started. Again, greetings, everybody.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Kristen.
Good.
Just wanted to say again, we dropped that link in the chat if anyone wants to support us. Even $5 a month goes a long way, helps keep us organizing here in Ohio, keeps us moving forward, and it helps us do all the progressive organizing that we've been doing over the years here. So much appreciated to everyone.
All right, well, it's just a little after 7 o'clock. And again, I'm Kristen Kranz, Dr. Kiki. Doc Kiki, you can call me anything you want. Doesn't really matter. I'm usually known as Kiki from the call team. And we've been working really hard last session and this session, making phone calls for Nina Turner and various other things that we need to be making phone calls for. So as we're waiting for Nina to come, I'm just going to give a push for anybody who's here to join the call team. We're calling every Thursday and every Sunday for Nina, and I'll give you some more details for that in just a little bit, because I can see that Senator Nina Turner is joining us here today. And so, as many of you know, really no introduction is necessary. And this is part of the reason why we do the work, because someone who is so true to the spirit of love and justice we all want to do the work to help Nina get to the place where she can do the most benefit. And so she is pushing to get to Congress, and we as Our Revolution Ohio are working phone banking and in other ways to get her to Congress. And our first guest, Senator Nina Turner, who was co-chair of Bernie Sanders' 2020 campaign and former president of Our Revolution. Nina's here to speak with us today. And again, she is running for Congress in Ohio's 11th district. I don't know anybody that can rally the forces and help us find deep within ourselves the love and the passion and compassion that we need to do the work. So many of us are feeling squashed right now by a myriad of things that the system just forces us all to struggle, whether it's over education or healthcare or finances or a living wage. We're all struggling for one reason or another, and many of us for a myriad of reasons. So Senator Nina Turner, you give us strength and hope that things can change, and this is why we step up to do the work. So with no further ado, I believe she is here. I see her right there. Thank you. I'm staring at my computer. Welcome, Nina. So grateful that you're here. And really, I could probably start crying if I pushed myself just a little further, because you truly give me strength to do the work that needs to be done, because like I said, everyone is struggling in many ways, and I'm so grateful to have hope in you, and thank you for motivating all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, Nina Turner.
Well, thank you, Dr. Krantz. I really do appreciate you, and certainly appreciate Our Revolution Ohio. Just everybody that's here. I see my dear friend Lucas Blower is on here too, shouting him out. I see Morgan Harper is here. I know she's on the program too, and just so many of you. Our Revolution Ohio, Diane, certainly, and the Our Revolution Ohio team, all of you, you mean a lot to me. Our great state means a lot to me, and Our Revolution, as you know, has been blazing a trail since 2016 all over this country, the grassroots doing the daggone thing. And so I just want you all to know you don't need an extra special title to get good and magnificent things done. Most things that have ever changed, not only in this country, but in this world of import that really lifts people and sets crooked paths straight, did not necessarily come from people who had extra special titles. It came from ordinary people who put a little extra on the ordinary so that extraordinary things can happen. And we certainly are the 21st century version of those types of people. And then there are those of us who are blessed over our lifetime to get a few extra special titles here and there. And I do believe people like me who have had or who are seeking extra special titles should do extra special good. And that good should comport itself in a way that it gives the people something they can feel. One of my favorite singing groups, In Vogue, they used to have a song that I loved, and some of the words, giving him something he can feel so that he knows the love is real. Well, I insert giving them something they can feel, meaning the people giving us, so that we can know that the love that is coming from the people who we give our power is real. That love is in the form of policy. That love is in the form of having empathy for other folks and injecting that empathetic message into what you stand for when you are elected to office, no matter what level of government you are on. I thank Our Revolution Ohio so much for being right there by my side when I ran in the special election last year, and I'm glad to have you right by my side again this year. I'm running again for the same reasons that motivated me to run the last time, that there needs to be an awakening in this country, and we do need more folks with those extra special titles, with the courage of their convictions and the willingness to use intestinal fortitude to stand up for what is just, for what is right, and for what is good. And Doc, as you have laid out, and many others on this journey, we know that having universal health care is part of that. Canceling student debt certainly is part of that. Cancel that debt. I was in DC at that cancel student loan debt action. Want to shout out the Debt Collective and all of the organizations that are right there telling the president, pick up the pen and go ahead and sign that executive order. The Debt Collective has already written the language. All you got to do is sign it and just go ahead. 45 million of our closest friends will shout hallelujah if we can get that student debt canceled. Whether it's working on a legal system that we know is unjust. It is unjust for the poor. It is unjust for people of color, and it is especially unjust for Black folks, particularly Black men. We got to do something about that system. It is standing up to say that we as human beings have exacerbated Mother Earth, and we have a moral obligation to stop it and to chart a different course for ourselves, for younger generations, and for generations yet unborn. I think it was Dr. Maya Angelou who once said, if you know better, you ought to do better. Well, we know better now on a whole host of things, and we ought to do better. And it's time out for all the excuses about why it cannot be done. We need a reimagining in the United States of America and also in the world, standing up to make what seems to be impossible, making it possible. Our revolution, I need you now more than ever to volunteer, to work hard, to call your friends and your frenemies. I believe that we can win this race this time. We have a stronger ground game this time, field first, and it is palpable what is happening in the greater Cleveland area, and we want to keep it going. We know that there are forces that do not want to see yours truly in that Congress, but then there are forces who do want to see yours truly in that office. And so if the forces who do want to see me in that office outpower, outvote, outwork the forces that don't, baby, we are indeed going to win this race. I am excited and exhilarated despite the nonsense, the foolishness, the folly of the GOP at this time in the great state of Ohio. It is a damn shame. I want to use stronger language than that, but it is really a shame what they have done to manipulate their misdeeds when it comes to drawing the lines, and they are really setting us up for a lot of confusion among the voters. The notion of 2 primaries, spending almost $20 million, absolutely makes no sense. For all of those fiscal conservatives, I wonder where they are when it comes to messing with the people's money like that. There's so much that we could do with $20 million in the great state of Ohio. So we got one party that has lost its ever-loving mind, and at times we got another one that won't use the power that they have to change material conditions. Well, that will change because we have to elect more progressives. I am honored to be one of your endorsed candidates. Again, I see my sister Morgan Harper, and she's out there doing the thing, standing side by side with an absolute madman. I don't know how she does it without cursing, because, baby, I would speak that language so tough. You know, they would have to cut off the telecast because it would be rated R when I got done. The man is crazy. But I applaud my sister for having the courage to stand up and expose the madness that is going on the GOP side. We do, however, have to continue to check our side as well. When you have the power, when people have the power, they got to use it. That power is fleeting. We can't wait one more election cycle. We can't wait to have a majority of 10 or 20 or 30. We can't wait. If you got a majority over 1, you got to use that power right then and there to make some crooked paths straight. And that is what we plan to do. So nothing but love for you, Our Revolution Ohio. Nothing but love for Our Revolution National. We are exactly what the people need. They need a revolution. And in my closing, I just want to remind you, I know sometimes the talking heads on mainstream media, the more corporatist types of Dems, and definitely the crazy Republicans, sometimes make the people who are on the progressive side of the agenda feel like we're reaching too high and we're dreaming too big. I am here to assure you tonight that we are not reaching too high and we are not dreaming too big, that the people of this great nation, the people of our state and of this great nation deserve more and better than what they are getting. And because we are blessed to be a hegemon nation, we can have these nice things. I also want you to know that the majority of the American people are right where we are. They might not necessarily call themselves progressives, but when you talk about having health care, they start to tell you the stories about the bills they have to pay, that they are uninsured or underinsured. When you talk about canceling student debt, as I said, it's 45 million people, and the people who love them, who understand the crushing impact that this kind of debt has. I was just talking to an elder the other day, and we were talking about canceling student debt at a house party that was being held for me in the Huff community in Cleveland, Ohio. And before I left that house party, that elder pulled me to the side. She said, Senator Turner, don't forget about me. Don't forget about people like me. I am 74 years old and I still have student debt. What kind of nation is this? And so canceling student debt is a multi-generational proposition that we must cancel it, not just for the young, but for the young adjacent and also for the seasoned folks. 45 million people. What kind of nation is this? And sometimes elders are garnished Their Social Security can be garnished. Give me a break. We got to do better. We know better. We got to do better, and we can do better. Those are only examples of the things that we must do to create a nation where everybody can live a good life, not a half-measured life. Decent is okay, but I'm trying to get to good and great. I don't know about you. I mean, decent is okay. Decent is better than not. But I am striving to get to good and to great, because I don't think people even get up for decent. Decent don't get me out of the bed in the morning. Baby, you start talking about good and great, you got me. And that is what I want for the overwhelming majority of people in this country. And the zeros in your bank account should not dictate the quality of your life. Hello, somebody on that. So our revolution, we are fighting for the past, the freedom fighters that came before us. We are fighting for our present. We are the 21st century version of those freedom fighters. And baby, we are fighting for the future to set a stronger foundation than the one that we inherited. That is what progress is all about. So I want you to know the overwhelming number of the American people are right where we are. We are on the cutting edge of victory. Yeah, we are. So thank you, OR, Ohio, OHIO.
Thank you so much, Senator. You are just an inspiration to all of us. And this is why there are so many people on this call tonight. As I always tell people, she has the experience, the compassion, and the commitment to the issues for the people. And so thank you for motivating all of us. Thank you for doing the hard work. And I'm going to encourage everybody who is here tonight to join us on Thursdays and Sundays. And you can also join directly through Nina's campaign. But Our Revolution Ohio is making calls specifically into the district. We will train you how to call. We will teach you how to make these calls, talking to people one-on-one, listening to their concerns, hearing their issues, telling them that Senator Nina Turner is the one who is committed to the people, committed to the issues, not committed to the corporations and billionaires. And again, the change happens. Someone Nina and I love dearly always said, change doesn't happen from the top down, it happens from the bottom up. And so you who are on this call, you were motivated to come and listen to Nina. Take her inspiration to heart and do the work. Everybody's got to find the way that they can do it. I will tell you that making phone calls is not that hard. We will train you what to do. We will teach you what to do. And if ever there was a person that is easy to work for, it's Nina, because she's honest and trustworthy and compassionate, and she's got the history. She's brilliant. I could go on forever, but you've heard her speak. So again, join us. There should be links in the chat. We're online every Thursday, every Sunday night, 6:30 Eastern time, and we will train you how to call. So really encourage you to join us making the phone calls. And Nina, God bless, and thank you so much for all that you do for our souls and our spirits. And let's get you to Congress so you can work on the issues that we need help with.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for that, Doc. And yeah, I feel this from my soul. I'm not perfect, nobody is, but I do have a compassion and a passion for the people, and it shows. And when things are not going right, I show the requisite emotion. Some people don't like that. I was taught a long time ago, if your hair is on fire, damn it, act like your hair is on fire. If all of our hair was literally on fire right now, you would not be sitting back cool, calm, and collected. Everybody in the space, everybody in the place would know that your hair is on fire. Our hair should be on fire for what is just right and good. We are on the right side of history, progressives. I just want you to know that. And I love you all so very much. On to victory. I'm going to stay on a little bit. Here's some of my other colleagues in this struggle, but just God bless you, Our Revolution, and thank you for everything that you do, not just for people like me. No individual is bigger than this movement. I am a part of this movement. I am a servant in this movement. This is not about me, as we said on the Sanders campaign. This is really, truly about all of us. Liberty and justice and everybody's pursuit of happiness. That's what we're going for. Love you, Our Revolution.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to turn it over to the head of Our Revolution Ohio, the indomitable Diane Morgan. Take it away, Diane.
Oh, thank you very much. Nina, I have a special message for you from one of the people who are on the call here tonight. Dave Garan, I hope I said that right, Dave, from Akron, said, please thank Nina for speaking at the Debt Collective rally in DC on Monday. I was there too. So I just wanted to make sure you heard that from Dave. He is an activist that just does not stop. He's everywhere. So as you can see, he was in DC. I did drop a link in the chat for those of you who are here in Cleveland. There's an exciting event with Charles Booker from the Hood to the Holler on Friday and Saturday. So if you're able to, I understand that there are some tickets available through the campaign. So make sure you tap into that. Thanks, Kristen and Nina. Now, next, we're going to move on, and we've got a jam-packed less than 45 minutes coming up. It's full tonight. So hold on to your seat. But I'm really excited to introduce Morgan Harper, who is running for the Ohio Senate, or the Senate in Ohio, for Rob Portman's seat. Yay. And as many of you know, she's worked for the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau and has so many other impressive accomplishments. I didn't want to go into listing them all because I didn't want to take up all the time in the world. So the United States Senate, right, Gary? But she's a fighter for progressive values like Medicare for all, canceling student debt. We just heard a bunch about that, addressing the climate crisis, and so much more. She's like right there alongside us with every single issue. And with that, I'm going to stop talking and introduce Morgan, except for one other thing. Tonight, we are announcing that our Revolution Ohio is endorsing Morgan, and we are really excited about that. And everybody, not only do we have to work for Nina to get Nina elected, we've got to work to get Morgan elected. So roll up your sleeves. We have less than 30 days. Morgan, take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Diane, and the whole Ohio Our Revolution team, and Senator Turner for the shout out and the remarks, and all my other co-presenters this evening. I am really, really, really excited to be here tonight. And it's a critical moment. Diane already identified it. We've got a tight timeline. So I am going to get to the action, but I just want to give folks a little bit of background on how I got to this point and what I've been hearing. And, probably a lot of people on the call have already heard some about my background, but I just had some early life experiences here in Columbus, Ohio, that showed me this American dream thing is not laid out to all of us in the same way. And the core of having any shot at achieving it is having financial, economic stability, and in some ways, even more importantly, a strong community around you to be able to weather the life shocks that are inevitable for all of us. I was lucky to have that. That's what put me in a position to live out my potential. And just as Senator Turner was referencing, what we're talking about isn't complicated stuff. Everybody getting a fair shot. That is what America is about. That is what Ohio is about. That is what most people living in our state believe in. And now we need to get it done. And what is at risk? What I've been hearing since we launched this campaign in August, and we have been everywhere, very similar things, that I am meeting people that are telling me at 17 years old, a guy I met in Portsmouth, the only options before me were getting addicted to drugs or going to jail. A 65-year-old grandmother in the Toledo area whose daughter dropped dead in their house from a drug overdose and is now raising her 3 grandchildren on $16 an hour. It doesn't add up. A man that I met in the Cleveland area telling me that he had workplace injury that then led to one foreclosure, the next foreclosure, has never rebounded 20 years later. A 62-year-old guy in the Columbus area that also had a workplace injury has been homeless ever since 1992. What are we talking about? This is what our state has become. And I had very early exposure in my career to why this is. That we have been bought and sold out by politicians in places like Washington, D.C., who have become more about their careers and keeping everything moving and protecting the special interests who fund them than us. And as a lot of us know, folks are over it. We are over it. The people of Ohio are over it, and they are ready for a lot of the things that we believe in. Universal health care, importantly, including mental health care. Access to addiction recovery services, so that we don't have another generation of drug epidemic hitting communities all over our state. So I don't have 16-year-olds in my life that are committing suicide because of guns. We have to stop this, that people are ready for making sure that we cancel all this debt so that you have the ability to have a family, to buy a home. People want to address the climate crisis. And now that whole narrative about this isn't real, this isn't our issue, we're in the Midwest, this isn't our problem, has been exposed pretty clearly by some of the extreme weather events that we've seen and the continued warnings that are all around us that we are facing our demise unless we get our act together. And that's not all doom and gloom. That is actually one of the biggest economic opportunities facing us as a state that we need to be on the forefront of as a country, as Ohio, as communities all over Ohio. So we make sure that we don't have people that are moving from different regions, fleeing where they're from to be able to find jobs that are going to pay them enough to live. This doesn't make any sense. There are solutions for all of it. And now we need to make sure that we have leadership in Washington that is going to get it done. And how do we get there? I'll say, because here's the other big elephant in the room when it comes to my race, the viability question, okay? I know not everyone on the call is in Ohio, but in Ohio, we have this thing that people like to believe if you lean in a more progressive direction, there's no way you can get elected. Okay, couple points on that front. One, we've got data that says quite the opposite, that it turns out most people in Ohio want to make sure that they can get healthcare regardless of what their job is. It turns out most people in Ohio realize that jobs haven't kept up with the cost of living and want a higher federal minimum wage. It turns out most people in Ohio, and this isn't even a progressive issue, but it is sometimes up for debate in places like Ohio and increasingly across the country, most people in Ohio want to protect the right to access an abortion, okay? On the line right now in Washington, D.C. because of a radicalized Supreme Court. So the data shows that all of the policies that we support are in fact those that the majority of people living in our state want to be about, but we have a candidate selection issue where we have the political powers that be that decide viability has to look like one kind of person to possibly break through with the working class. What these people don't understand is that the working class is us. The working class is all over the state. The working class makes up a lot of different types of faces, different types of people. And who knows that better than those of us that come from that working class? And so we also need to point out, and because we don't always do a great job of reflecting on our history, that safe choice that looks maybe a little different than I do, well, that's been losing in Ohio for about my entire adult life. So let's get real with what it's going to take to win. And here's the difference. We actually care about winning. This isn't a political game for us. This isn't about building career. This is about ensuring our future and making sure we have the political leadership to get there. So at this moment, under 30 days to go, I am also asking all of you to organize with us. I am so proud to be part of the Our Revolution family and community all over our state. Dan Rowe, I'm going to shout out, who's on the call, who is our organizing director. That is at the heart of our strategy to contact as many people across the state of Ohio as possible. We are texting, we are going to be calling, we are also door knocking, and we know that you all are going to be behind us on that. And I want to recognize Our Revolution Ohio as what I would consider to be the greatest electoral force in our state that is doing the work year round when people aren't looking, when people don't necessarily pull all the resources in to make it happen. We've got that people power. And that is the only thing that is going to save us and make sure that we continue to work towards Ohio and our country being a place where we all have the ability to be safe and stable at every single stage of life. I know we all believe in that, and I do believe that we can get it done. And as we were discussing before this call started, we are on the cusp. We are on the cusp of making that happen, an absolute breakthrough everywhere in the United States. And it is going to be part of that energy and momentum right here in Ohio. Right here in Ohio, we can start to continue to get that done. So May 3rd, early voting's already started. Anything you can do, continue to put the hours in. I'm going to be right there with you. We are hustling from home base here in Columbus, but hopefully I'll see a lot of you along the road over these next 30 days. And as we know, well beyond, in order to make sure that we realize that American dream for all of us. So thank you again. And I also want to especially shout out the Our Revolution Central Ohio team that really pushed forward this endorsement. Thank you. I am honored to have it. I am not kidding. I have been working with all of you over a long period of time here, and I know we are doing the work year round, every cycle, and that is what it takes to get it done. So thank you again for believing in me and our campaign and having your support, and I look forward to winning this thing. Let's do it.
Thank you, Morgan. Woohoo! Quick question. Do you have yard signs available yet?
Oh, we love the yard sign question. We will have them available very soon.
Okay.
If people want to continue to chip in and support the campaign to accelerate that happening, we would love that.
Okay.
We'll have them soon. We'll have them soon.
Yeah.
But if anyone, I will say, Dan, sorry to interrupt, but you see that sign behind me. If anyone's looking for, Dan's going to kill me for saying this, but whatever. Sorry, Dan. If you want to make a fun craft project, we have lots of these signs that are available before we get the yard signs, but the yard signs will be available on the website soon.
Okay, great. Because I know we've got Nina signs all over around my neighborhood. And one of the things that, running a statewide election, quick question I had is, are you looking for volunteers across the state to be, have locations for yard sign pickup and things like that? Is that something that volunteers can do?
Absolutely. And Dan is dropping his information
Okay.
in the chat. So
Mhm.
anybody, please, if you aren't already in touch with Dan, reach out to him. He's great, and he'll get you all the information you need. And yeah, we have already volunteers all over the state, both
Mhm.
Our Revolution and otherwise, and we would love to add to the numbers.
Okay,
And that's
great.
and Diane, I just say, I mean, when we were also talking about before the call began, what gives us hope in this moment? What really has given me hope is just connecting with so many people across the state who are thinking the same things at all, small towns, mid-sized cities, the larger cities. We're on it. We have the momentum, and now we just need to really seize it and make it real. Win.
Right.
Let's win.
Right. Well, thank you. And I'm so glad that we've endorsed you, and really everybody volunteer. I'm going to roll into our next speaker. And this ties in with helping to get Nina and Morgan elected. Heather Tingley is here to tell us about Ride Share to Vote. Now, we partnered with them last year, and it was an amazing project, working with them. And I'm not going to explain it. I'll let Heather do that. Heather, you got the floor.
Hi, thank you so much, everyone, for having me. What amazing people that I have to now follow. But my name's Heather. I am the Ohio statewide organizer with Ride Share to Vote. As Diane said, we partnered with the wonderful folks of Our Revolution in the Cleveland area, starting last summer through, we work year round as well. So throughout the special election in CD11, all the way through Cleveland's mayoral primary, that race, November races, all the craziness of redistricting, and here we are voting again. So I'm actually really excited to share. We are also working with the Nina Turner campaign to help send Nina to Congress. This is something I'm super excited about, living in Ohio, being able to, support races like this. It's very important. So for the May primary, we're actually running our program in Cleveland, Akron, Athens, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Dayton. We're offering free round trip rides to the polls. Our mission is centered around leaving no voter behind. So we do direct voter outreach to low propensity voters. So these are people who maybe never voted before, aren't frequent voters, haven't been engaged in the process, are low income, disenfranchised, et cetera, et cetera. And we offer them our service. We have volunteer drivers who are absolutely amazing and provide the rides for us. So if anybody on the call is interested in giving rides, sending texts, doing phone calls, I can drop all that information in the chat along with our website to learn some more about us. Our rides are going to start April 25th. So we'll run the last week of early voting through Election Day. And then again for the second primary, whenever that is. And then again in November, and then again and again. And part of our mission is to always take our previous riders. So anyone that's ridden with us before will get another call. Hey, there's an election coming up. Let's bring you to vote again. And that way we're reinviting them to the process and creating a more frequent voter and more voices being heard. So I can drop all that information in the chat. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Heather. I did drop some information in the chat already for you. Couldn't help myself. And we just have a quick reminder that, the work that we do here in Ohio with Our Revolution Ohio can't be done without your support. So if you're able to, become a movement builder and join us, Our Revolution Ohio. I'm going to move on to Lucas Blower, who is an attorney in Akron and a precinct committee person in the Summit County Democratic Party. He's here to discuss Ohio Citizens Jury Amendment, which would provide a new way to bring regular people into the legislative process here in Ohio. And one of the reasons I invited him to give us a brief overview is because it's so outside the box. And it's something that we really need to look at. And at some point, we'll have him back for an in-depth meeting, but this is a great introduction to this. Welcome, Lucas.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Our Revolution. Hello, Senator Turner. Hello, Morgan. So nice to see you. Just to sort of level set, what this is really about is about expanding democracy, which includes expanding the power of the people that we're going to work so hard to get into office. Now, the problem is we get great candidates into office, but so many times they're stymied and they're not able to implement the positive, popular policies that got them there in the first place. Because, you know, the bureaucracy is big, and we want to find new ways to give folks that we put in power to be able to exercise that power on behalf of people. What I'm talking about is the Ohio Citizens Jury. This is a proposal that would introduce a way to have sortition. Sortition is a way of selecting people at random and involving them in the legislative process. And so what got me interested in this idea is the fact that we see every day that our democracy is under attack. And we see the attacks coming from all over the place. We talk about them a lot, and it's obvious to everybody. It's obvious to us. It's obvious to even those folks that are in the establishment. But we don't talk as much about why those attacks are allowed to happen. What's happening in our society that those attacks are allowed to happen in the first place on our democracy. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that voters are alienated from the system. They are not invited in to participate. And a lot of that has to do with real structural problems, root problems about the expensive elections being so expensive, about institutions being captured, and about the fact that we have enormous inequality. Now, here's the issue. Of these problems, there's a lot of the stuff that we're trying to change. The root of it, we're not even really trying to change. But even the stuff that we're trying to change, we're not really doing a good job of that. Our big effort was the Voting Rights Act, and what we saw with that is completely stalled the Senate. Now, do we quit? Or I think the option really is, do we try real democracy? Now, if I leave you with anything, like I said before, I didn't get to say this, but I'm going to go quick through this, and I can drop my email in, and I can provide these slides to anybody, and I can answer any questions. But if I want to leave you with anything, I want to decouple two concepts. One is democracy, and the other is elections. People treat these as synonyms, and they are not. Democracy is about everybody having political equality. Everybody in the community shares power. Elections are designed to create an elite ruling class. And so what you need to do, elections can serve their purpose for sure. I'm not saying that we just get completely out of elections. That's not what this proposal would do. But what we need to do is try to say that democracy is not the same thing as elections. So once you have that decoupling in mind, how does this work? Well, the first thing I want to tell you is that it's already working. All across the globe, there are communities, Iceland, Ireland, Belgium, France. If you go to participedia.net, which is in this slideshow, they have all kinds of instances of governments inviting in regular folks into the legislative process and getting good results from doing so. And so this is what the Ohio Citizens Jury Amendment would do. It would create a process where we select 150 people at random, the way that you would do a jury. And then our legislatures would present a bill. Instead of going through the regular channels, they would present the bill to the jury. And if a supermajority of that jury approved the bill, then it would become law. Now, what that means is that the people that are voting on the bill are no longer selected through politics. And you're going to get a whole cross-section of society deliberating and deciding on bills. And that means that you can get through things that are popular, but will not make it through our current legislative system. I've got some resources here. Again, I'll put my email in the chat. I can email this out to anybody. I can answer any questions along the way. What I want to leave you with, though, is that we're working really, really hard to make people's lives better. Senator Turner, Morgan, Harper, everybody on this call, you wake up every day to make people's lives better. Part of that, though, is we have to give power back to people. That's the fundamental root of this problem. People need to be able to exercise power themselves and be able to be a part of the legislative process. And I want to start introducing those ideas. I thank you so much. I think I got it in just under 5 minutes.
Wonderful. Lucas, thank you so much. And I really feel that, especially watching the chat, that there is a lot of interest in this. So get ready. I'll be reaching out to schedule a broader conversation. Okay. You think you can fill an hour?
I can talk. I can talk for as long as you need me to.
Great. Make sure you drop any links you have in the chat for everyone. Okay. Thank you.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so I'm gonna move on quickly here to our next guest, Pat Marida. I hope I'm saying that right, Pat. She's with the Ohio Nuclear Free Network, and this week I was talking to Dennis Slotnick, our lead organizer in Toledo, and he brought HB 434 to my attention, and through conversation with other members of our Revolution Ohio, I was introduced to Pat, and so she agreed to come on and give us a brief explanation about what HB 434 is. I really just felt an urgency to get this information out to everybody because it has not been in the media anywhere. You've not seen it. I'm sure almost everybody on this call tonight is going to be shocked. So without further ado, Pat, I'm going to turn it over to you.
I had to unmute myself. I appreciate being on here with all of you. I'm honored, and it's really important. This bill is way under the radar. So give me a high five too, or give me a shout out if I start going too long here. So well, Ohio House Bill 434, it would create a secretive new government agency, and they're calling it the Ohio Nuclear Development Authority. It's about promoting nuclear power, and placed under the Ohio Department of Development, and the Ohio Department of Development contracts its work out to Jobs Ohio. Placed under there, the new agency would be able to raise and spend undisclosed amounts of taxpayer dollars, and it would be completely out of the reach of Ohio's open records laws. And this concept could also become emblazoned into law and then move into other fields. So we know that Jobs Ohio gave Google $43 million in tax abatements in New Albany, and they guaranteed 50 jobs. Of course, the enticements that they're given are not all known. Amgen Biotech in New Albany, American Nitrile in Grove City, and on it goes. But those were not authorized under any bills. Ohio House Bill 434, it's 14 pages long. The first 8 pages describe a pretty convoluted process for selecting the new nuclear authority's board members. And that process is deliberately designed to circumvent public involvement and oversight in the selection of the board. 434, it's the brainchild of one small Cleveland company. And that company is coming to the Ohio State House with its hand out. And they got turned down at the federal level. They're looking for money for research and development of the so-called advanced nuclear reactors. But we call them PowerPoint reactors because they're unbuilt, they're untried, they're untested. Wall Street won't fund nuclear reactors because they're expensive. They take at least a decade to build. They have massive cost overruns. I'm sure you all heard about that. And they're uncompetitive. So the industry calls them small and modular. But if they propose building a dozen of them in one spot, we say, well, how is that so different from a single reactor? Now, defining this project as research, they don't have to show any useful results. And if the process dies out, the company will still have profited from public handouts all along the way. So they have absolutely nothing to lose. 434, it's replete with references to the US military and the Department of Defense. And as such, it presents a dangerous commingling of nuclear power and nuclear weapons. And unfortunately, the fuel for these new reactors also represents a crossover between nuclear power and nuclear weapons. 434 would allow Ohio to take ownership of radioactive waste. And that's something that no state has ever done. And spreading nuclear research and development from federal to state entities is also unprecedented. So federal regulatory control over radioactive materials and radioactive waste, that would be lost too. And the bill's sponsor, Representative Stein, despite his denials, the bill indeed allows for the taking of private property. And they do this by calling the proposed research an essential public service, essential public service. The words eminent domain are not there, but what else is the taking of private property? So how long will Ohioans pay would Ohioans pay for this? How much would we end up spending is not addressed. Lastly, I will say, contrary to the industry propaganda that has become accepted as fact, nuclear power is actually not low carbon or carbon free, and it's certainly not emissions free. And probably, maybe this is the first time some of you may have even heard that, but emissions free, it produces high level radioactive waste. And I would take a little bit of carbon before I would take any of that. It's only the nuclear chain reaction that does not produce carbon. When the nuclear fuel cycle is included, you include uranium mining with 5,000 abandoned uranium mines on Native American land, the uranium milling, the refining, the enrichment, fuel fabrication. Nuclear has a really high carbon footprint.
So, Pat, can I jump in here? Do you mind?
No, please.
Okay, great. We're at 7:45, and I know we could talk about this for hours. We have a tentative meeting, April 20th. We're waiting for confirmation from an associate of yours. And so I did drop the link to the discussion so we can really drill down and get, get through this horrific bill. But I'd like to ask everyone if you can sign up for that meeting. Pat is going to be with us, and I won't interrupt her then. We have a letter writing campaign that Pat and I worked on over the weekend. This is really important because, Pat, this is in the Senate now, right? Isn't it in committee?
It is going before the Senate Energy and Public Utilities Committee, and
Right.
they have not heard it yet. It is not. It is
Right.
They will hear it at some point, probably fairly soon.
Mhm. So it's really urgent that everybody take a look at the letter writing campaign. It goes to your senator, and then also included in it on the landing page, once you send the letter, is a list of all the committee members. So you can call them, email them, and reach out to them. And then I also dropped a link to talking points from the Ohio Nuclear Free Network. And Pat, I'm going to say thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I know there's quite a conversation going on in the chat. If you could jump in there and add some answers. I know Daniel had one about the Fifth Amendment, and I'm not even going to go into that one right now. So Pat, thank you for being with us on short notice. Is there anything you were going to add?
I'll put my email and phone number in the chat. If anybody wants to call me, we could certainly use all the help we could get in opposing this bill. So thank you again, Diane, and especially to everyone on the call. Thank you.
Great. And we're going to be looking at some further actions. Pat and I were tossing some ideas back and forth over the weekend, so or past few days. So look for more actions on this. And again, thank you so much for being out there and fighting this fight. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to something a little bit more positive. We have Kathleen Caffrey, and she is our communications director, resident artist, just picks up so much of the slack, then juggles several balls in the air for us here in our Revolution, Ohio. And she's going to talk about a project she's been working on around the art of activism. So Kathleen, you've got the floor.
Okay, so let's do this. So we're talking about a lot of things that are current campaigns, but the way these things keep going is by keeping the foundation strong. So what I'm talking about is keeping that foundation strong. There is a book that Diane pointed out to me and I immediately had to buy that came out recently called The Art of Activism. It's a little thick, but they know what they're talking about. And it's written by a whole team of activists. I've been active since before I was born, so, you know, it's been a minute. And they put together this book on how to take creativity and outreach and messaging and really turn it into effective campaigns and just getting word out about things. So what I'm doing is a bit of an ask, but I promise you it comes with a sketchbook is a fun ask. I have started a Facebook group that pretty much anyone who is interested can join. And you jump on and you take whatever cause you're working on and come and we will message together and we will work together and we will take our creativity and our activism and we'll put them together and frankly just be better activists and more effective activists for putting those things together. Plus we'll have each other to bounce off of and work together with, so hopefully we can reinforce each other and be a little more effective that way as well. Plus, I mean, let's be honest, is activism, you're making the world a better place, is art, you're having fun, and you get to paint for fun and make the world a better place at the same time. So if there's a better combination, I don't legitimately know what it is. But yeah, jump online. It's free, obviously. I have all the links for the things you need. This is what the book looks like. So pretty easy. And I have the link to get it on this side as well. And that's it for me. But yeah, come join the foundational people of playing with watercolors and markers and make the world better at the same time.
Can you drop that link to the Facebook in the chat?
Can.
And your email, so if anybody wants to reach out to you as well. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I can't wait to join. I'm really excited about it. So brilliant.
It's fun. Like a lot of this is like a lot of work and stuff, and I get that, but like it's fun. So
right. You won't catch me drawing though. Trust me. So with that, Kathleen has dropped those links and we have two guests to wrap up this evening. And I'm super excited about this. Matt Marton and Justin Evaristo are here, and Kathleen is part of this team too, by the way. And Matt and Justin are co-hosts to a radio show that a whole team has been working on that launched in March, and it's called The Ohio Advocate. And of course, that was Kathleen's brainstorm too. I love it. And it airs every Sunday morning at 11 a.m., but it's also on a podcast, and they're going to share all that information. And the one thing I wanted to share with you is that it's really ironic that the show before the Ohio Advocate is a conservative religious preacher whose name is Ernie Sanders. Not Bernie, Ernie Sanders. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. This is too much, right? So they're here to tell us about the show. And so welcome, Matt and Justin, and tell us about it, what the programming's like, and what you might need to keep the topics flowing. And you got the floor.
All right. Thank you so much, Diane. Much appreciated. So, yeah, you were here. You got me, Matt, and I know my co-host Justin is on here as well. Say hi, Justin.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah, there he is. So yeah, so like Diane was saying, we are a weekly radio show that's run out of 2 stations out of Youngstown, Ohio. And we air Sundays at 11 a.m. For anyone that's in the Youngstown area, you can hear us on 97.7 FM or 1570 AM. Or if you're more either not in Youngstown, or if you're a podcasting type of person, you like listening to podcasts, we're on all the podcasting apps. So just search the Ohio Advocate and you'll find us. Now, we do have something that we would like to ask everyone here. We have been looking for people to get involved, specifically like people that are local to the Ohio, anywhere in Ohio, really. We're looking for people to get involved with us as well. We have a few roles that we're looking for people to get involved. First one here is our news gatherer role, and that's essentially just finding interesting news stories for us to cover. Really, it does not require much work at all. Just got to send us some stories, really. And for anyone that's interested in any of these roles, we'll have a little Google form that you can fill out at the end of our little presentation here. We'll have, I think Diane will drop those links in the chat for you. Besides that, we've also got if anyone's interested in a week in review producer role, we're just the same same responsibility as someone that's going to do the news gatherer. Plus, they just kind of more or less put up a little bit of a summary about the articles that we're covering, and essentially just help us write the bare bones kind of idea of what a segment might be like. And last but not least, the way we have our radio show set up, we normally do kind of quickly go through a handful of stories in the first half of our show, and then Justin, as well as I do, towards the second half, we always have a feature-long story where we kind of dive a little more into the details on a story, oftentimes during interviews. And we're looking for people who want to be contributors to feature-length stories as well. Usually those run 20 minutes or so. And we've had some really interesting interviews we've done, and we're looking for more people to help out as well. So if you're local to Ohio and that sounds like something you'd like to be involved in, we're certainly looking for people to do that. So much appreciated if anyone's interested. Diane, I'm assuming Diane can get that in the chat there at some point. And yeah, just a little more information on the basically the features and stuff that we run here. And again, we're just anyone that would like to help out. We could use a few more contributors. So if you'd like to be involved, yeah, I think Diane just put it in the chat now. There's the link there. And for anyone that is either watching this later or watching this live stream on Facebook, anything like that, you can also email us at theohioadvocate@gmail.com. Do you have anything to add here while you're here, Justin?
No, not really. Just again, emphasize, more hands helping out is always better, right? Lighten the load for everybody else. So, but yeah, we really appreciate it. Listen to us, come help us, whatever you would like to do.
Yeah, exactly. So much appreciated. And if you want to listen to Justin and I just kind of go through local Ohio news and offer our progressive take on the news stories of the day, then again, we are the Ohio Advocate, and we'd love to have you listen. We air every Sunday at 11 o'clock, and we get put on podcasting sites pretty much right after that. So thank you all so much, especially to you, Diane, for giving us the time to talk about the show here on this monthly meeting, sorry. And thank you to Justin and Kathleen for being on the team and helping out. Both of you couldn't do it without you, honestly.
You guys are amazing, and I would encourage everybody to check it out. And the nice thing is, I dropped the link in the chat to the radio show or the station's website, and you can actually listen to it live, so you don't have to be in Ohio. And then of course there are those podcast links that I dropped, and it's just amazing work. And this is our first month, and it looks like Dakota wants to be part of to join you guys. So Dakota, I think, is in Akron or the Summit County, Matt. So you might even know Dakota. Yes, see, there we go. So thank you everyone for being here tonight. I have a couple of quick announcements. First of all, fabulous team here tonight. I really appreciate all of you, and Hal National for helping us out here on the back end. Again, we couldn't do this without your support. So we do ask that if you are able to become a, yeah, a movement builder. I was copying the link and saying that at the same time. I also have some other links I'm going to drop, but on April 12th here in Cleveland, we are doing a day of action for our election heroes. We're going to be at the Board of Elections from 12 to 1, thanking election workers, poll workers, and so on. And I'm going to drop a link to the chat. If you're in Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, come join us. But if you can't join us, Lisa, who's helped me work on this, found an app where everybody can sign a thank you card, and we can deliver that to them. So, sign away. I'm going to drop that link also. And then Judge Terry Jameson is going to be with us on May 11th at 7 o'clock for a meet and greet. We'd like you to join us for that. And then all the other links I'm going to just quick drop in here. And if you'd like to get more involved, I'm dropping a link for that as well, to join our Revolution Ohio and become an active member, and watch out for our summer tour coming to you soon. Hopefully it'll warm up one of these days. Before we go, please take a look at all these links, and I will email them to everyone who signed up. But we're going to do our chant. So I'm going to ask all of us to unmute, and when I say when we organize, you guys all say we win. Okay, you ready? I'm not seeing everybody unmuted. Come on, let's go. Justin, Matt, use your radio voice.
We're here.
Okay, all right. So when we organize,
we win.
When we organize,
we win.
And Kristen, when I say it this time, I want you to do your Nina thing, okay? When we organize, we win.
We win.
We win.